Question. Do you guys ever get so caught up in things like sports that it really messes with you emotionally? Like it really depends on if you're going to be, super happy that day or maybe even depressed. I know we got the Super Bowl coming up. How many of you guys are any Chiefs fans in here? No? Good. I like that. What's the other team? Niners? Yeah. Not too enthusiastic with those things. I know the Rams just got recently kicked out of the playoffs. I didn't even think they were going to make the playoffs, so I was pretty happy about that. But when they did lose to the Lions eventually, a little bit depressed for that day. But it's so funny how like when they a few years back the Rams won the whole thing, Super Bowl, and it's like we freaking won. That's all it was, and people are like, you're not even on the team, but it's just like when you have that sense of identity with those teams. I don't know if anyone can relate to that, but when they lose, it's like, it's just a game, and you kind of have to, not think about it that way. Otherwise, you might fall into a little bit of depression. And I wanted to tell a story that happened actually. Dang, you guys are probably little. I think it was 2017. I think it might have been 2016, 2017 World Series. The Dodgers were in it, and I actually ended up going to Game 6 of this game. And I was having all kinds of fun. It was a blast. And actually, we have a video if we want to throw that up real quick, Jace. I'm losing my mind. It was Halloween that day. That's why I was dressed like a banana, throwing bananas in the crowd. So that was Game 6 of the World Series, and they were winning. Obviously, I was going crazy, losing my mind. Yes, throwing bananas. And I was having fun. We actually end up winning that game, Game 6 against the Astros. Next day, Game 7, we blow it. We lose. I'll still never forgive Hugh Darvish for blowing that. But also the Astros cheated, so I think we should have actually won that World Series. Anyways, that's besides the point. You saw how high my emotions were right there. I was super happy. Can you believe how sad I was the next day, the next night even, where I fell into a mild depression, not gonna lie. But we get so invested into things like sports, that might not really matter in the grand scheme of things. But in the moment, it might be a huge deal, and it might play a part into our emotions. So whether it's a sports team or something more significant, the emotions of loss are something that we all experience. So how do we recognize those losses in our lives? It's not just about sports heartbreaks, whether the Lakers, Rams, or Dodgers lose, for me. It's about identifying the losses that impact us on a deeper level. Maybe we lose something, whether that's confidence because we get rejected. Maybe it's our health. We get sick or break a bone. Recently, I don't actually know what happened to my foot. Anthony's laughing in the back because all my friends told me to go to the doctor. I didn't end up going to the doctor. If you break something or feel like you broke something, go to the doctor. But even that, I felt like I lost a little bit of confidence and I wasn't able to do certain things. So whether it's your health or your happiness because things don't go the way that you hoped, or maybe it's your peace. Maybe things aren't going that good at home and it's causing you to really struggle in your mental health at home. Or maybe we don't just lose something, we lose someone. Whether it's a friend moving away and now you feel like you're feeling these feelings of loneliness because you don't have that person to talk to that was your best friend. Or maybe it's a breakup with a boyfriend or a girlfriend and you're really feeling that deep pain. Or I can relate to this a couple times. Maybe a pet dies and it really just has you down for that week. Or maybe something even worse happens where someone close to you ends up passing away, whether it's relative, grandparents, even parents passing away and having to deal with that deep sadness. And this is kind of what I want to talk to you guys about today. Let's talk about the feeling that I'm describing, which is the feeling of grief. And grief can be defined like this. It's the deep sadness that comes with the loss of something or someone you care about. It's the feeling we experience in the aftermath of that loss. And we all deal with these emotions in different ways. Some of us get the emotions out by talking to God and to others about it. And some of us more so internalize it, keep it inside and even try to distract ourselves from feeling those things. If you're anything like me, I'm definitely the second one where I don't really like to talk about it. But I know in the back of my mind, it's good to talk about these things and get them out. Whichever way you lean towards, it's important to process and eventually work through those feelings. And one way to work through those feelings is actually through the help of other people. I don't know, just raise your hand real quick. I'm sure a lot of you can. How many of you guys have friends in this room that you can actually talk to? I got a few. Don't be shy. I know there's more than that. Yeah, I remember, dang, dude, almost 10 years ago now in high school, I had this friend that was really going through it. He broke up with his girlfriend, or she broke up with him, actually. And I had to really step into what that friendship role looks like, and that's actually being there for someone. So he was coping in maybe not the best of ways, and I had to be there for him. And that looked like texting him. That looked like calling him if he wasn't responding to the text. It looked like hanging out with him. Even if we weren't talking about the situation, it's just spending that time, getting his mind off of it with good things. And so I just had to really step into that friendship role and be there for him. And eventually he got better and moved on. But that's something that I want to talk with you guys about today, or you guys are going to talk about with each other with the first discussion question. I wanted to ask you guys if we could throw that up. Can you remember a time where you tried to comfort someone who was sad? And what did you do to help? So I don't know, maybe you guys can relate. Maybe one of your friends went through a breakup. Maybe one of your friends went through a loss, some sort of grieving, and you had to really be there for them. What did you do to help? Cool. So when we do this, when we're there for a friend and we actually help them out through whatever it is we're going through, we're actually following the law of Christ. We can throw up the Galatians verse real quick. It says this: share each other's burdens, and in this way obey the law of Christ. Sharing each other's burdens. We are called to be there for others and allow others to be there for us. You know, just sharing personally, I'm really good at being there for other people. At least I think I am. But I'm not really good at letting others be there for me. Honestly, I just like to kind of deal with things on my own. But I know that is definitely not the best way to always deal with things emotionally. But like this verse in Galatians says, bear each other's burdens. Allow yourself to carry the burdens of other people, and vice versa. Share your burdens with other people so they can carry them for you and with you. And this is similar to what another text that I want to go over today that comes out of John. We won't throw up the verse just yet. But just as Jesus was, so in the same way, share each other's burdens, Jesus shared the burdens of Mary and Martha in John chapter 11. And just to give you guys some context, Jesus is away from Mary and Martha. I don't know if you guys know this story, and finds out that his friend too, Mary and Martha's brother Lazarus, is sick. And Jesus kind of, if you look at it from outside perspective, Jesus kind of lags on coming to visit Lazarus because Mary and Martha want him to come and heal Lazarus before he passes away. He ends up passing away. Jesus then goes to see Lazarus, and if you guys know the story, you know what's going to happen in the end. But before he does what he's going to do, he sits, talks with Mary and Martha. He sees them where they're at. And the Bible says that he has compassion on them. So much so that it says this in John 11:35. I think this is like the shortest verse in the Bible. Jesus wept. It's the shortest verse in the Bible, but it's honestly very powerful to know that the Son of God, God in human form, wept. He wept with two people. And in the same way that he cries and feels the pain of losing Lazarus with Mary and Martha, he does that with us and in our situations. Not only did Jesus come to be with Mary and Martha in their time of loss, he felt the pain of grief with them. And like I was referring to, he also raised Lazarus back to life, which is crazy. But the point I'm trying to make, like I've been saying, is Jesus is with you in the worst of circumstances and understands exactly how you feel. Which quickly brings us to our next discussion question, and feel free to get as vulnerable as you would like or as comfortable as you like. Think of the last time you were sad. What's one thing you wish someone would have done for you? I know sometimes when I'm sad, I just need to be left alone. Like, shoot me that text. Hey, I'm praying for you. Love that. Sometimes when I'm sad, maybe just bring me some food. Honestly, that would cheer me up. I don't know about you guys. Sometimes I need to hang out, get my mind off things. But whatever that is, think of the last time that you were sad. It could be anything. Like I said, get as vulnerable as you want. I would encourage it and be respectful to everyone's vulnerability and listen intently, because the point of these groups on these Sundays is for you guys to connect with each other, and that's what we're trying to get you guys to do. So give you guys another 5 minutes to go ahead and discuss that real quick. So hopefully you guys had some good conversations that will pretty much conclude our discussions. So we're going to wrap up really quick. But hopefully you guys were able to share some things that you guys have been through. Maybe even got some encouragement from the people at your table. But something I also want to encourage you guys with is this verse in Matthew 5:4, where Jesus says, "Blessed are those who mourn, for they will be comforted." And I really love this verse, and it's definitely one that I go to when things don't go my way, I experience loss, whatever it is. Just a reminder that Jesus is with us in our times of grief. Jesus is there to comfort us. And if I can share a personal story, kind of answering the question from before, last year, almost a year to the date, actually more than a year to the date, but last year my grandpa passed away, and that was probably the most significant person that's passed away in my life. And I really went through it. Like, I even still feel it to this day, where there's just times where I just break down and cry. And I really do need that comfort from Jesus. And I get it. And he gives me that hope, and he gives me his comfort. But that was tough. And I'm sure some of you, even people I was discussing at the tables, can relate to losing someone that's important to you. And maybe you're asking all these questions like, why did this have to happen? Or why do I feel the way that I feel still, even if it is years later? Jesus is there for you. Jesus is there to comfort you. And like I said, he's still comforting me, and he can do the same for you, whether that's directly speaking to you through the power of the Holy Spirit, through his word, whatever, or it's through other people. Yeah, at tables, there's people here that I'm sure are willing to comfort you and be there for you. I know my boys are, they're juniors. They're kind of crazy. But genuinely, I do see the connection that they have with each other, and they are there for each other when someone opens up about something that they're going through. And I want to encourage you, if you don't feel like you have that, like I'm sure some of you feel in here, you don't really have anyone to talk to, that's a lie from the devil. That's a lie from the enemy. There are people all around this room that are ready to talk to you and comfort you. If not students, leaders are for sure here. That's what we want. Like, there are leaders at this table literally just waiting for you to tell them your problems. And they want to pray for you and be there for you, text you when you're feeling down, be there for you as much as you can. So I just want to encourage you with that. And if you like this discussion kind of thing, I just want to also plug our small groups on Wednesday nights. We could throw up the slide with all the information. We have these small groups every Wednesday until the summertime. And it's a really good place to talk about the things you're going through. Maybe you're going through grief. Maybe you're going through a loss, whatever it is. We're going to specifically be talking about grief this Wednesday for sure. So I would encourage you guys to come. Ask your parents to drive if you don't drive, and get here and just be open to talking about the problems that you're going through. Be ready to comfort others, the problems that they're going through. And this way, we obey the law of Christ and share each other's burdens. So